All right, let's jump right in. We tend to think of computers as these all-powerful machines, right? Like they can solve any problem we throw at them, as long as we give them enough time. But what if some problems, even ones that seem simple, are so fundamentally hard that even our fastest supercomputers would just give up? That's what we're digging into today, the surprising and very real hard limits of computation.
So, to kick things off, let's talk about something that sounds super simple. Imagine you've got a delivery company, just one truck and a list of places it needs to go. The goal? Find the absolute most efficient route to hit every single stop. How hard can that possibly be?
Well, you might be surprised to hear that this is actually a classic challenge. It's called the traveling salesman problem, and while it sounds almost trivial, it's one of the most famously, notoriously difficult problems in all of computer science.
Okay, so you're probably thinking the same thing I was. Hey, we've got these incredibly powerful computers. Why not just, brute force it? Just make the computer check every single possible route and then just pick the best one. Easy enough, right?
Well, here's the problem. The number of possible routes doesn't just grow, it absolutely explodes. For n stops, you have n choices for where to go first, then n-1 choices for the next stop, and it just keeps going. This is called n factorial, and believe me, the numbers pile up ridiculously fast.
And that, right there, is how we smash headfirst into what computer scientists call the exponential wall. This isn't a problem with our hardware. It's not about being a better programmer. It's a fundamental mathematical barrier that puts a hard stop on what we can realistically solve.
Just to give you an idea of how crazy this gets, with only 20 stops, this is how many routes you have to check. That's over 2.4 quintillion. To put that into perspective, a supercomputer that could check 1 trillion routes per second would still need more than 28 days to finish. And that's just for one truck on one day.
So this really highlights a huge dividing line in computer science. On one side, you have trackable problems. As they get bigger, the time to solve them grows at a pace we can handle. But on the other side are the intractable problems, like our truck route, where the difficulty grows exponentially and just spirals out of control.
So, what do we mean by tractable? It all comes down to having what's called a polynomial time algorithm. Basically, it means if you double the size of the problem, the time it takes to solve might, say, quadruple, but it doesn't become ridiculously, impossibly long. It stays within the realm of possibility.
Okay, so this begs a really interesting question. Is the traveling salesman problem just some weird statistical outlier? Or is this just the tip of a giant, difficult iceberg?
Oh, it's not even close to being an isolated case. The traveling salesman problem? It's got a huge family. We're talking thousands of different problems from totally unrelated fields that all share this exact same frustrating, intractable property.
To really get a handle on this, let's talk about how computer scientists organize these problems. First up, you have class P. The P stands for polynomial time. Basically, this is the "we can solve this efficiently" club. If a problem is in P, we've got a recipe to find the answer.
And then you've got class NP. Now these are the tough nuts to crack. Actually finding the solution from scratch is brutally hard. But, and this is the cool part, if someone just hands you a potential solution, you can check if it's right really quickly. Think of a Sudoku puzzle. Solving it takes forever, but checking a finished one, that takes seconds.
Right, so solving is hard, but verifying is easy. And that leads us to maybe the biggest, most famous unsolved question in all of computer science. Does P equal NP? In other words, if you can easily recognize a correct answer, does that automatically mean there's also an easy way to find it in the first place? No one knows. It's a million-dollar question, literally.
But wait, it gets even crazier. Inside that big, difficult NP class, there's this elite group of problems called NP-complete. These aren't just hard. They're the hardest of the hard. They are the final bosses of computation.
And the thing about them, what makes them so mind-bending, is that they're all connected. Every single one of them is linked. If you could find an efficient polynomial time solution for just one of them, you would instantly have a solution for all of them. A breakthrough on one is a breakthrough for all. So how are they connected? Through this incredible process called a reduction. Think of it like a universal translator. It's a recipe that lets you take any problem in NP and efficiently transform it into one of these super hard NP-complete problems. And the magic is, the answer to the new problem is guaranteed to be the answer to your original one.
And we're not just talking about routing trucks anymore.
These NP-complete problems are hiding everywhere. They show up in graph theory with things like Hamiltonian cycle, in finance with the subset sum problem, and at the very core of logic design with Boolean satisfactability. They're just all over the place.
All right, I get it. This is fascinating theory, for sure. But what does any of this mean for me? You know, in my day-to-day job as a data engineer and architect, why should I care?
And that is the million-dollar question, right? Because knowing this stuff isn't just about trivia. It's about survival. It tells you what to do, and maybe more importantly, what not to do when you inevitably run into one of these problems out in the wild.
So here's the big takeaway. The most important thing to remember. Your job is not to be the hero who solves one of these problems. Your job is to recognize you're facing one and immediately pivot. Don't fall into the trap of trying to find the one, single, perfect, optimal solution. Instead, you switch gears and focus on finding a good enough solution using clever approximations that get you a great answer fast.
So, at the end of the day, understanding these hard limits, it's not supposed to stop you. It's supposed to empower you. It frees you from wasting countless hours on an impossible task and helps you become a smarter, more effective problem solver. It makes you ask the real question, is a perfect answer tomorrow worth more than a great answer today?
So, I really hope this deep dive into computational limits was helpful. If you thought it was, do me a favor and hit that like button, share it with someone who might find it interesting, and subscribe for more explainers that break down these kinds of complex topics. Thanks so much for joining me.